Okay, let's bring up our next presenter, and let's bring Richard up, please.
Come on, Richard.
And Richard, before you get started, the first thing I have to ask you is, what is this dish sitting in front of you?
I don't remember.
Are you a foodie? You take pictures of food like I do? Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Richard.
Richard, I've been working in
Hold it up a little closer.
been working in healthcare since 2001. Been working since I was 9 years old, but
Wow.
had my first job at 16. Was a sacker,
Okay,
and
I did
been
that.
working ever since.
okay,
And that would lead me to lifestyle.
okay. So this is your quote, but tell us a little bit about why you decided to join.
You know, like I've said, I've been working a long time, and I was just saving money, but I was like, I knew it was something missing. I was like, I'm saving money, but I didn't know what to do other than have a 401k or a Roth IRA. And I was like, it got to be something more than just working and just saving money. So I kind of was interested in real estate. My father was doing real estate, but it kind of turned me off because that's how I started working at 9 years old, because he was pull up weeds and, you know.
Kind of like my kids.
Yeah, so.
Okay. So now, usually we bring up a member that's recently bought a property, and then we talk about that one particular property. But Richard has been a member for almost 6 years now, and this is Richard's second case study. Was it your first property or second property we did a case study on?
Second property.
Second property a few years back. So we're going to talk a little bit about the progression. So you can see what somebody can do when they come in and do their first property, but what you can do over the years, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So again, we're not slumlords, and so I'm going to show you several of Richard's properties here. And this is Albacore Street, and you know, it's funny now, you know, when I first saw my first property, I walked in and it was like, oh my God, this is disgusting, let me out of here. And now I would not buy a property that looked good. I only want the ugly, dirty, smelly properties. I want it to stink so bad because that's the smell of money. And so these are the kind of, we're looking for the properties on the left, and then we turn them into the properties on the right. So this is one of his, I mean, look at the transformation in that property.
Looks like some good equity capture in that deal.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, this property doesn't even have a ceiling in it in the kitchen.
It's optional.
Yeah, so ceiling optional. Now this one didn't have a whole lot on the outside to do, but you can see on the inside, again, massive changes on the inside of the property.
So these are the 4 or 6 that you own right now, or you bought over time?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. And so we're going to talk about his first property, and the market was different. The numbers are slightly different than today's market, but anyway, you bought this property, and now we're in a market of a high equity capture because of the you know, Brian's going to go over all the details of the market and what drives the market and what drives the pricing and the equity and cash flow and those things. But back then, you were buying this property because it had a healthy cash flow of $373 a month. Didn't have much equity in it because you were buying it. And this one was in pretty much already rehabbed, right? Yeah,
Right.
was rehabbed. There was no zero rehab on this property.
And it was my first, and then, you know, lifestyles teach you, you know, to do your conventional for your first property.
Yeah, so you bought this, and even though it didn't have much equity, how long did you hold this property?
I held this property almost, what was I, so 2000, maybe, what, 4 years?
4 years, okay. And then you sold it, and is this the one you sold in a 1031?
Yeah, this is the one I sold.
Okay, so Brian's going to give you the details of a 1031 this weekend, but it's a tax vehicle that you can sell a property, keep the money in real estate, and defer those taxes down the road, and then you can buy more property. So you turn one property into 2 properties just on this. So.
And I'll teach you that this weekend, because if he didn't have to pay taxes on his first one, that gave him a bigger chunk of money to go buy more property, right?
Right.
Instead of paying taxes on the sale of the first one. So he was able to buy 2 properties with the proceeds from one by using a 1031.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So I showed,
Awesome.
yeah, I showed you some of the pictures of the houses, but this is your current portfolio. You've sold one, and you currently have 6 properties, and you can see that in less than 6 years you have. and we went over your numbers before, beforehand, but you've come out of pocket with money that you've pulled out of pocket. You've refinanced 2 properties, you've sold 1 property, you've had cash flow that you were saving to reinvest, but you've come out of pocket. We figured about $45,000 to $55,000,
Yep.
and you've turned that into $334,000.
That's adequate.
Has anybody put their money in the stock market, $50,000 in the stock market and turned into $334,000 over the last 5 years? Kim, how you doing? Superstar sitting on the front row here.
Over the last 5 years, that's a 668% return on your money. Divide that by 5 years, right?
6 years. He said almost 6.
Ah,
Yeah,
shit.
6. Yeah,
Times
this
5
is. I started 2. Yeah, 2.
divided by 6. Who in here is making 111% return on your net worth or on your money every year? Who's making 111%? Raise your hand, Richard.
Me too.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Fantastic job.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So this is, what this is, what you can do. This is the progression of a real estate investor. And so, Richard has done a fantastic job at this, and when Richard first got started, I was freshly becoming a mentor, and Richard and I talked a lot initially on this. I don't think it was even your first property. I think you already had one when I became a mentor, but we talked a lot, and then we talked a little less on the next one, a little less on the next one, and then each time I see Richard, and he's added 1 or 2 more houses to his portfolio, and he doesn't even need me anymore. So.
Yeah, I would always see Sorrell at the road trips.
Yep.
So, I just need to say this one more time. Over the last 6 years, every year, by buying right, rehabbing, and operating correctly, Richard has doubled his investment, 111% every year. That's phenomenal, y'all. It is. Good job.
Thank you.
That's great.
So this was your quote, but tell us a little bit about how lifestyles is changing your life.
Well, it changed my life tremendously. They'll recommend certain books to read, doing the studies online, the webinars, going to road trips, just, constantly getting information, and also, how to handle any obstacles that may occur in life. It's just been phenomenal for me because I started in healthcare at entry level, so I wasn't making that much money, and once I started doing real estate and I joined Lifestyles, it just took off. It changed for me. From 2017, I haven't looked back.
Can we go back one slide? Sorry, I just want. So you bought your first one with $21,000 out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Bought his first property with $21,000 out of pocket. Then you had some equity gain, and I think you bought your second one.
Yeah, I bought my second one. It was about 11.
You put more
11
cash
out of
into
pocket.
it, right?
Yeah, like 11 out of pocket.
And then you sold your first one, or you sold it and 1031 that money into?
Two properties.
So in all, you've put 50 grand or so in this, we said earlier, right? Mm-hmm. So you're making a 50% cash flow per year on your money, right? 50 grand, half of that's 25, right? And that 50 grand's made you a 660% return into 334. How many people are making 50% on the money that they have invested somewhere? Richard, raise your hand. Right? Do y'all want to learn how to do this? Yes. Sorry, thank you very much. I just had to drive that one home, man, because this is phenomenal. Yes.
What he put in total.
Yes.
He's every year on something.
You understand what it means to play with the house money when you're gambling? He is way up. He is way up at the blackjack table.
Yep. So tell us your short-term and long-term goals here. Where are you headed?
Well, my short-term goal is to get up maybe 2 or 3 more single families and get myself in position to become, to get into multifamily. My goal is to be an independent rental owner,
Yep.
and then possibly also being a lead.
Awesome.
And for those of you that knew, he used the term real estate retired. That's our term, and that's when you don't necessarily have to leave your job, but your income from real estate has exceeded either your total income or your expenses, and now you can work because you want to work. Because you like your work, or but you have the freedom to, when something bad happens at work, you can just say, "I'm out of here."
Yep.
Your income is replaced, your real estate income has replaced your W-2 income, and that's a real comfortable feeling. Everything changes when you do that.
I did have a question about that from online. When do you think you'll be real estate retired? You have a timeline?
By 2024.
2024? So about a year?
Nice.
Yeah, about a year.
Nice.
Okay.
So 7 years total. 7 years since you started, replacing your income. Hey, guess what? We retire people in 3 to 7 years, y'all.
Yeah. Okay, so you and I have worked together a lot through the years. Moon Kim has been your realtor, I guess, on most of your properties? All of the properties. And I mentioned Jennifer over there as one in the top 10. Moon Kim has been the #1 realtor. Jeff Smith, I don't see him, but Moon has been the #1 realtor at least the last 3 years, and
He's a beast,
multiple years. He's unbelievable. So this guy never sleeps, I don't believe. But
I get the email blast, like,
Yeah.
property number 362 this year from Moon Kim. I'm like,
Yes, yes.
top realtor in the city of Houston. So.
yeah,
Yep.
at 3 in the
Yep.
morning, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the rest of your team. Anybody with questions, you can come over here, and online, if you guys want to type them in, and David will...
Online, we need some questions, please.
Okay.
Yeah, my contractor was Corbett, and I want to tell you about how the universe works. I met Corbett back in 2012, and we was just out partying and drinking.
Wow.
And he was telling me about that he was a general contractor. I didn't even know what that was because I wasn't even interested in real estate. And then fast forward to like 2018, I was at a road trip, and who do I see? Corbett. He was giving a presentation. And
Oh, wow. So he was up here giving back like you are tonight.
Yes.
And this is the second time you've done this.
And then I just added him on my team because I knew him personally. And
Awesome.
I've learned so much, working with Corbett.
Excellent.
And then I have to give a shout out to Tim Bro. Tim Bro with AMP Lending. He was very excellent. He always called and check on me. Say, hey, how interest rates are low. It's a good time to refinance. And it's good to have people like that on your team that truly have their good interest for you, and they want to see you succeed.
Sure.
So,
Lenders are going to be a primary part of your team. It's not just the financial transaction. Lenders like Tim and Kim we introduced earlier, they're going to be your eyes on the property when you're going through the rehab. And if you're new to this and you're getting rehab done, and the contractor says, "Oh, this is done. I'll take care of it later. Give me some more money." And you get a draw inspection, the lender will send someone out, and they say, "Oh, no, you haven't done this, this, and this. You're not getting any money until this is done." So they're the eyes on the property. They're the bad guy if it needs to be a bad guy, and they're protecting their interests, of course, but they're protecting you also. So absolutely work with those lenders.
yes.
And your contractor was who?
Corbett Total Property Care, and I
when he
give
met
a
in
shout out to Red Door, David Hoke, also Boost Foundation.
So I get a question online from the members who are dialing in, watching us. How many times usually your last property you bought? How many times did you visit the property?
I would visit it once a week.
Okay. Online, you don't need to do this. If you work with a mentor, he just said the lenders will do their draw inspections, your contractors will be there with you. Sorrell said earlier, we live where we want and we invest where it makes sense. So you could do this from out of state. We have thousands of members that do.
And I work with a lot of members who have lived in other states, bought properties in Houston. They've never physically been to the property. And the realtors will do that. The contractors will work with you. The lenders will work with you. And it's
about the team.
It's about the team. You must, whether you're local or out of the city, out of the state, you still have a team, but that team works for you well.
We got a question from Keith.
Okay.
How you doing, Richard?
Get close.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say that your properties look incredible.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I have
Thank
two
you.
questions. They looked horrible You know, when you first showed the pictures up
Question
there,
is, why would you buy that?
what made you think you could turn that garbage into a masterpiece like you did?
Don't hold anything back, Keith.
I'm just saying, you made them look like masterpieces. What made you look at the before and say,
Oh, yeah.
I can make this look like art?
Good question.
Good. Man, it was all Lifestyles Unlimited teaching that gave me the confidence. Because once I started going over the videos and listening to Dale and going to road trips and getting education and more education and feeling comfortable, I was like, then I could start seeing. I was like, yeah, I can see the end result. You know.
And also a like-minded group of investors, because you've seen that, right? Someone may go look at a house with a mentor and a realtor from Lifestyles and go, man, that does look like crap, right? And then, hey, man, Richard did it the other day. Well, man, if Richard did it, I could do it, right?
Yeah.
That's it. It's a group, a like-minded group of successful real estate investors.
And there's a lot of online education that walks you through step by step each of these processes.
He's got a part 2.
Yeah, I got one more question, Richard. You say you're a Anesthesia Tech.
Yeah, that's correct.
I have some friends that are anesthesia techs. Now, I don't know how much money you make, but I heard they don't make a lot of money. So how could you afford all these houses, Richard? It's a lot of houses.
I would bring my lunch to work.
That saves you $30 a day right there.
The houses paid for the houses. That's how I afforded them.
Good answer. Good answer.
So that's it.
Yeah.
He sold one, 1031 into 2, right?
You refinanced 2,
Yep.
pulled money out and bought others, and yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Keith.
Richard?
Okay.
David, give me some online questions.
I did have one.
All right.
Can you tell me, was there a time where you were discouraged, and what did you do to overcome that?
Who's that from? No, I'm serious. Just the first name.
Cullen. That is from Cullen.
Thanks, Cullen. Great question. So is there a time you were
is it-
frustrated or overwhelmed?
No,
Or
'cause,
discouraged?
The books that Dale recommend, like Think and Grow Rich, when you learn in your mind, you can overcome anything.
Yep.
Because if you look around this room, everything you see is started with an idea. Someone had to think about it in order to manifest it. So when I came across any difficulties or challenges, I knew that I can overcome it. If I just use in my mind. If I didn't have the answers, I knew I had the support of my mentors and other members and like-minded people and lifestyles. So.
And your team on the slide right now.
Yeah.
Right? To help you with. That's what working with a mentor, learning from a successful group of successful, it's the hand-holding of just helps you get over the next step, something you've never done before.
Right.
Yes,
correct.
David.
And one thing I'd like to say to the member that asked the question is, if you want to look for a reason to not do this or a reason to not do it right or a reason to fail, those are easy to find. And so, get in, I think Brian teaches the same way Dell did, David did.
Yep.
Go to the back of the book and write down, when it
I
doesn't
will not
work,
do
I will
what
not do what
Dell
Brian
said
said
to
to do.
Dell said to do.
Yeah, but I mean, when you come into it and here's 34 years of success, here's people like Richard and Franco, and I got it right this time, doing it right, and model the good behavior. Don't get all this negativity in your mind that
Right.
what's happening when it goes wrong and the negativity. I mean, when it goes wrong, give me a call.
Right.
Before it goes wrong, and so.
All right. David, what you got?
So a Delbert Walmsley
Uh-oh.
asked,
One of us is in trouble.
what the heck was he going to rent houses weekly for?
Was he going to rent? No, he didn't rent houses. He
Houses
went to
weekly for?
He didn't rent them weekly. He went to the houses once a week during the rehab.
Went to the houses once a week.
He
Okay.
visited the house
Went-
weekly
visited
during the rehab,
to check on the rehab.
which online, you don't have to do that, Dell, as you know. You can live where you want and invest where it makes sense, right? For all those online, out of state, maybe live too far away to drive in this evening, Live where you want, invest where it makes sense.
And he
You
was
could
talking
do
to,
this
he was
from out of
talking to us. He
state.
wasn't talking to
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why I would visit them, most of the houses was on the way home from work. I worked the overnight shift, so I'm like, well, I'm going by there anyway, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
makes
stop for a
sense.
second.
Yeah. And we want you to kind of keep an eye on the rehab, either you individually, personally, or your team if you're not local. And you don't want to go 2 or 3 weeks and then realize nothing's been done at the
Right.
property. So,
Okay.
okay, thank you, Richard.
Hey, Richard, thanks a lot, man. Phenomenal job.